Welcome to the Steve Wilmot Show with the Neshaminy Redskins head coach Steve Wilmot. I'm Sean Lerman, as we get set for another week of Neshaminy football on 1490 WBCB and video stream live at WBCB1490.com, brought to you by Aria Health and Faulkner Buick GMC Cadillac. Neshaminy coming off of a 31-24 win at Penridge on Friday night. Coach, big early season win. We talked about how that was going to be a tough early season opponent, but great win, and talk about that last drive down the stretch.
It was a tough win. There wasn't anything easy about it. We lost Zach in the first quarter, Zach Treadway. He's a key component in our offense. I thought Will Dogba really kind of gutted a real good performance out. They were not easy yards that he got. He made some really nice cuts. Mason made some nice throws when he had to. The last drive, you saw what Ole Manzik can do with his speed, and he's a football player. Speed alone doesn't make that catch. It's concentration, and it's a little bit of natural ability. He made that catch going down our sideline, and then Will was able to punch it in to help secure the win, but there was nothing easy about that win, that's for sure.
You mentioned Ole Manzik had a couple of big catches in that game, all on those long downfield routes. He and Mason seemed on the same page on those.
Yeah, our goal in our offense is to spread a defense out, and if they're not going to have a deep high safety, we're going to keep taking that shot all year. Our goal is to spread the whole field out, work the whole field. And then when we can achieve that, then I think our running game will really open up. Our running game kind of opened up because Will made it open up. But, the offensive line is getting better, but it's still a work in progress. And, I think our defense battled a lot better. There's some things that we have to work on as far as tackling, but that quarterback of theirs was kind of tough to tackle. So
yeah, Jagger Hartshorn he's a tough guy to bring down. He was a lot of Penridge's offense on Friday night, and you said going into the game that he was a key to slowing him down. How do you feel like the team did stopping him?
I think the week 1 defensive performance versus the week 2 defensive performance was better. Our linebackers did a lot better job of reading their keys. Our defensive line held up where we needed to hold up. We were able to contain him on passes, but when we contain him on one side, the other side wasn't kind of fitting in. The defensive job was better, but it's still a work in progress. And no slight to any of our defensive coaches or defensive players, but it's only week 2. There's every week to get better. Our goal is to play our peak performance at game 10. So every week we just got to continue to work on our weaknesses and go out there and have a good game plan and stop our opponent.
Absolutely. Jagger Hartshorn's going to run and pass for a lot of yards this year. I thought you guys did a great job holding him pretty much in check for the majority of the game. And we don't talk a ton about special teams on this show a lot, but how about Dylan McDonald? I think a 47-yard field goal is what it was. That's not something that you... And then their kicker kicked a 45-yard field goal in the game, so it was a nice little special teams battle.
Yeah, Dylan's a 4th-year kicker for us, so putting him out on the field, it's never... I had more of a question on that, with our short snapping, and we had a different holder in there. Corey Joyce had to hold when Zach went down. That was more of a question. Dylan's leg was never in question for me. He's a 4th-year guy. There was no win that night, so I didn't have any doubt in Dylan. Because he's got a strong leg. Sometimes during the course of the soccer season, his leg kind of gets worn down a little bit, but it's still early right there. I'll be more conscientious early October, but you saw Dylan, hit a majority of the balls through the back of the end zone to get touchbacks, and that's very important to us. Dylan's a 4th-year guy, and that's what I tell him all the time. He comes out, because he hustles up to soccer practice. He says, "Coach, so I need to put my uniform on today." And I said, "Dylan, you're a 4th-year guy. I know you can kick with pads on, so just get out there and get your work in, and then go up to soccer and be a great soccer player."
That's great, yeah. That was a really impressive kick. I think that would have been good from about 55 or so. Really good kick by Dylan. So This was something when I talked to Ole Manzik after the game, he specifically brought up how good it felt to beat Penridge. And that's a Penridge team that beat you guys the last couple of years. So talk about just what it meant to get a win against a team that you hadn't been able to beat the last 2 years.
It was good. Obviously, any win's a good win. Against Penridge, is good because physically they really kind of took it to us a little bit last year. And it kind of carries over to what we're going to talk about with Downingtown. Sometimes when you sit in that eye offense, teams can just can hunker in. And I've coached an I formation offense a long time. Sometimes when you spread a team out and you hit your spots on different parts of the field, I think there's a little bit of advantage to it that I'm seeing right now. And of course, you got to have a quarterback like Mason that can get the ball out there. It feels good. Penridge is a physical team. They don't have just like us. We don't have an easy first 3 game non-league schedule. They don't have an easy non-league schedule. They have Perkins Valley this week, who we actually saw on film against Downingtown West. They're a really good football team. They have some weapons too. It does feel good to get a win against a nice physical Penridge team. With there's some very good players on that team. That linebacker, number 40, he's probably one of the best linebackers on this side of the state. So, it feels good.
This is the Steve Wilmot Show with the Chamonix Redskins head coach Steve Wilmot. I'm Sean Lerman. We'll be back and we'll preview that game against Downingtown West right after this.
ER Express is the newest online reservation system for patients in Bucks County with non-life-threatening illnesses or conditions to reserve a time online to be treated at ARIA's Fast Care, Urgent Care, or emergency departments. ER Express streamlines evaluations so patients are treated more quickly, and best of all, it holds your reservation while you're in the comfort of your own home. Please remember, patients who experience major injuries and traumas should always go immediately to the emergency department. Reserve your spot online now with ER Express. Visit ariahealth.org/ER-Express. That's ariahealth.org/ER-Express.
Sandy's Beef and Ale has been serving famous hand-carved roast beef sandwiches since 1967. Sandy's Beef and Ale is located in the Woodburn Square Shopping Center next to the Oxford Valley Mall. Stop in anytime for not only the roast beef sandwiches, but also the patty, the tailgater, and the Cuban. Family and friends have been coming to Sandy's Beef and Ale since 1967. 2028 Old Lincoln Highway, the home of the hand-carved sandwich.
Princeton University football is back, starting on Saturday, September 17th, when the Tigers take on Lafayette at 5 p.m. at beautiful Princeton Stadium. It's also fireworks night, so bring the whole family for a day of fun at one of the nation's most beautiful on-campus football stadiums. The Tigers return both of their quarterbacks and have several returning defensive players. Single-game tickets are just $10, and season tickets for all 5 home games, just $40. This year, the Tigers' home schedule includes rivals Penn and Harvard, plus Brown and Cornell, and the opener on September 17th at 5 p.m. is against Lafayette, followed by fireworks night. To order and for more ticket information, go to GoPrincetonTigers.com. That's GoPrincetonTigers.com.
If you are looking for a new car, where do you go? Faulkner Auto Group at 4427 Street Road in Trevose is where to go. For the best deals in Bucks County for all of your new or pre-owned cars, trucks, or SUVs, go to Faulkner Auto Group. It is always Faulkner to be sure. You can also always go to www.faulknerautogroup.com. Just remember, this year it's Faulkner Auto Group for your new car or truck. 4427 Street Road in Trevose to be sure. Faulkner Auto Group, 215-364-7720. Faulkner Auto Group, a proud supporter of Neshaminy High School football.
Welcome back to the Steve Wilmot Show with the Chamonix Redskins head coach Steve Wilmot. I'm Sean Lerman, getting set for Neshaminy to take on Downingtown West at Downingtown West. This Friday, 6:45 p.m. will be our Trentonian pregame show. You can watch it live at WBCB1490.com or head on out to Sandy's Beef and Ale and watch it on their big screen TVs. Coach, as we get set for Downingtown West on Friday, this is another team that you've played a few times over the last couple of years. Another team that, just like Penridge, is a team that is in contention just about every year. And this year seems like no different. Another good team in the non-league schedule. What do you expect to see out of them?
Well, offensively, they run kind of a pistol wing T offense. They do a lot of things. You know, they have a very, very good running back by the last name of Riddick. He's a very, very good running back. They use a lot of deceptions, a lot of, you know, speed sweep motion, and then do some other things, run waggle off of it. You know, our defense is going to have to be on our toes. Just kind of like I said last week, they're going to have to the linebackers are going to have to sit in there, read their keys, and react and play football from there. And then you know, when the running back gets the ball, we got to, you know, rally to the ball and get as many tacklers at the point of attack as possible.
Now, with their quarterback, I think it's the same guy from last year, and
I think it might be different. It's a different guy.
Okay, well, so I have heard about him, though, a little bit, that he's not necessarily as mobile as Hartshorn was last week, but can sling the ball a little bit. What do you expect to see out of the quarterback?
Yeah, they run what we call waggle, which is a play-action pass where they're pulling guards. So they're faking the run one way, and then they're waggling back, and you know, they have deep routes, so you got to cover the deep routes, and they have drag routes coming across, and so there's motion going one way, and then the receivers are coming back the other way, you know, and you know, if the linebackers don't read their keys and are in the right spot, you know, the quarterback's gonna hit the open receiver. So we just got to be on our game. It's a deception type offense, and we always expect some trick plays out of them. So you know, it's just a matter of just playing disciplined football on defense, and you know, when you're at the point of attack, you know, make the tackle. You know, be good tacklers this week.
On the other side of the ball, what do you expect to see out of your offense going against their defense? What's their base set look like?
Their base set is a 3-4, so they're gonna blitz, but they're not gonna like a in-your-face type of blitz again, like we saw against Penridge. Their linebackers are gonna come from depth. You know, their defensive line's gonna try to, you know, influence you one way, and then they're gonna kind of blitz in behind it. You know, you're gonna see the inside linebackers walk up, pull out, and then the outside linebackers blitz. So the offensive line has to be disciplined and, you know, just use the footwork that they're taught. They're gonna play back a little bit. For the last 2 weeks, Roman and Penridge, we saw people right up in our face. They're gonna play back in coverage a little bit, maybe force us to throw a little bit underneath. But you know, I mean, last year, I mean, if you want to talk about last year, I mean, their defense just came at us from all different directions, and you know, that's kind of what we're preparing for this year.
All right, Coach. So before we get going here, we'll talk about some other stuff as well. I know you're mostly a college football guy, more so than pro football, but the big news in this area this week was from the pro side of things. Sam Bradford getting traded to Minnesota. So now, new coach, new quarterback, Carson Wentz for the Eagles. You haven't had to handle with a young quarterback here in Chamonix. Now as the head coach, you've got Mason Jones in his third year. But hey, if you're looking at this Eagles team with a young quarterback first year like Carson Wentz, what do you expect to see out of someone like Carson?
I just, you know, like, I don't get a whole lot of chance to watch football, and I'll go on record saying, and I don't listen to any of the sports radio things.
Right.
People hated Bradford. I like Bradford. I thought he could get the ball to different places, but I just remember what I watch a show in the offseason with Herman Edwards, who I think is awesome. And you know, in the Herm Edwards type of way, he talked about rookie quarterbacks, and he says those rookie quarterbacks, they really, you know, they throw interceptions. That's what they do. They throw the ball to the defense at least 3 times a game. You know, in Herm Edwards' way, and it's the truth. I mean, it's a lot. I was really surprised that they named Carson Wentz first week.
Me too.
I hope he doesn't get, you know, I hope it doesn't ruin him. I usually start following the Eagles around, you know, around November when things calm down here a little bit. You know, so you know, I think it's going to be tough. I think it's kind of throwing them into the fire. I really don't know too much about them. You know, like I went to an Eagles practice at their practice facility, and at the time he had the hurt rib, so he didn't do too much. The Chase Daniels, yeah, he's not a very tall guy.
When I was at camp, that was the first thing I noticed. He's about the same height as me, and I'm not very tall.
So that presents issues itself in the NFL when you have linemen that are 6'6", 6'7". You know, physically, Wentz looked the part, But it's not going to be easy for them this year. It's going to be tough treading.
Certainly going to be a tough year for the Eagles, but certainly should be a good year for the Chamonix Redskins. They get to take on Downingtown West at Downingtown West this Friday. We'll go live at 6:45 p.m. on WBCB1490.com with our live video stream. This has been the Steve Wilmot Show with the Chamonix Redskins head coach Steve Wilmot. I'm Sean Lerman. Show brought to you by RA Health and Faulkner Buick GMC Cadillac. We'll see you next week.